Hi, everyone. This is Bernie Wolfstorff. I'm the managing partner of WR Immigration. Joining me today is Nate Grow, our partner in the NorCal office. Thank you, Nate. We are going to be discussing some immigration insights, but focusing really on a path for the best and brightest. There's a lot of things I could be talking about today, which may not be classified as positive, and challenges that we face. I am not focusing on the challenges. I am focusing on the path forward. I'm focusing on the path. We continue to see our university cases get approved. We continue to see our research cases get approved. We continue to see our corporate cases getting approved. And I'm also quite heavily in the investor arena where the cases are being approved. It is correct that there are many other things happening which will negatively impact immigration. And I could spend hours talking about, for example, the 19 countries and the potential freeze on adjudications, but that's not where we're going today. For your information, the Q&A is open, and please feel free to send in your questions. For those postdocs on the call, one of the things that I want to offer today is the ability to evaluate your eligibility for EB1, EB2 self-sponsorship. Self-sponsorship is a big part of where we're going today. Feel free to send your resume to Nate, ngrow at my last name, wolfstorff.com. Put in your Google Scholar score rank. Obviously, that's quite important today. And if you're focused on national interest waiver, there's a new hook in this area. Tell us why your contribution or endeavor will impact the United States or internationally, because that is the requirement they're focusing on. It's no good that you are advancing your project alone. You have to have a national impact going back to the prior NISDOT decision and precedent in EB2. All right, let's move these slides forward. Just the usual legal disclaimer. We're not providing legal advice today. If you need legal advice, you need to consult with us. That's our website, and Visa Law is the general email box, actually comes to me. A little bit about WR Immigration. Our firm has grown a lot. We're over 200 people now. We have 10 offices globally, 17 attorneys selected by Best Lawyers this year. We're pretty much over 50 lawyers already. And the key aspect of WR that I like to talk about is our technology. We use the system Rapid, which is built in-house. This is our media. Please join our newsletter. Follow us on YouTube and LinkedIn, and you'll get all the latest and greatest info on what I'm going to call affirmative immigration. Immigration has both import and export. Somewhat crude, but our focus is mainly on obtaining immigration benefits, not necessarily focused in the deportation area, although sadly, we have had to build up our capacity in that area.
Bernie, while we're going past that slide, our first question in the Q&A, thank you for submitting. Will the slides be sent out after? Yes, we'll send out these slides. You'll have all the links, all the slides afterwards. If you're watching this later on YouTube, reach out to me or Bernie, and we can send you the slides.
Yeah, the slides and the recording will be available on YouTube. So, yeah, feel free to, and you may, for that reason, want to remain anonymous if you're submitting questions. Okay. Temporary, short-term, non-immigrant visa, work visas. This is very basic, but nevertheless important. The H-1B visa, this is still what I'm going to call the nuts and bolts visa. For most people moving forward, there was huge concern about the $100,000 fee. For people who were in the United States prior to September 21, in the US prior to September 21, 2025, the $100,000 fee should not apply. However, depending on how the petition is filed, if it is filed loose and you entered after September 21, by loose I mean consular notification, there could be issues regarding the fee. That is in litigation at the moment. It is my prediction the $100,000 fee will be knocked down. But my predictions are not always accurate. Who qualifies? Bottom line is professionals. The key phrase in the H-1B is that your degree has to be specific to the field. This is the critical element of the H-1B. So if I am applying for a position as a dentist and I have a general medical degree, it's not a fit. Your degree has to be a specialty degree in your field. And there are certain areas where a variety of degrees could be used. And that can present a problem if you don't have the precise fit in terms of the correct educational background. That approvable for up to 3 years, renewable for 6 years, green card pending, you can extend beyond the 6 years. The timeline to apply is February 26. Registration, and by the way, we're anticipating this. We don't know this. It hasn't been announced yet. March 26 will be the selection. There will be a 90-day period. And the visas, of course, will become effective October 1, 2026. A critical element of the H-1B is the employer-employee relationship. Nate, I'd like you to talk a little bit about this.
Sure.
The prior administration was quite generous in allowing H-1Bs for startups and I think loosened the employer-employee relationship. We haven't seen that change yet. People are still talking about getting approvals, but the issue is this. Is my position the CTO? Is my position the CEO? And is the prevailing wage $150,000? And is this startup able to pay? Take it from there,
Yeah.
right?
We have a lot of startup clients, and we end up doing H-1B for various different founders. That's right. And Bernie, as you mentioned, H-1B visa, there has to be an employer-employee relationship between the company and the employee. So how does that work if you're the founder, if you own the business or you own a significant part of the business? It's really just a matter of how you structure the company, how you structure your reporting line. It can work even if you are a significant equity holder, even if you are the CEO of the company, you can still be an employee. And I mean, we work so much with startups. We know that is realistically the case, right? When you have a startup that has funding, the founder in many ways is not really self-employed. The founder always has somebody that they've got to report to. And the key is just capturing that in your documentation, right? If you are a startup founder and you have bylaws that make it clear that you report to a board. You've got a board that could outvote you, that could fire you if it came down to it, right? And that board could be whoever, your investors, co-founder. You could set up a structure where you have an employment agreement for yourself as a founder, as a key employee of a startup, and you report to your co-founder.
And
Yeah.
yet, I still throw in a word of caution. The prior administration was very focused on entrepreneurial visas. They loosened this up. We could see some tightening, so people do need to be aware that it's risky. Now, Nate, if you have a choice between an H-1B and an O-1 for a startup, which way are you going?
Well, if you don't have an H-1B yet, you never had an H-1B, there are challenges going against H-1B. H-1B, you have to go through the lottery. It's still likely possible that we're going to have a lot more people looking for H-1Bs than there are H-1Bs available, $85,000 cap each year.
And possible that with the new 100,000 filing fee, we're going to see a massive reduction. Last year,
possible. Yeah.
Last year, I think you got about 40% with your master's degree. I'm predicting this year that the lottery is going to go up to like 70, 80% because there's going to be a substantial reduction in the number of cases filed. So
that would be the silver lining around all these challenges to H-1B is, yeah, they became more available to those that really need them.
And one more thing, we've got level 4, 3, 2, and 1. Level 4 salary, you get 4 shots. Level 3, 3 shots. 2. The overwhelming majority of H-1Bs, however, are level 1 and 2, correct?
Right. Yeah, so
you're
talking about a new rule proposed. Do you anticipate that's going to be in place before the lottery?
They said they're going to have it ready, so we'll see.
So we should prepare for it. And that means going into the lottery, you need to figure out this year what the salary is going to be and what wage level. In past years, to enter the lottery, you just needed, name and passport information of who you want to sponsor.
So one of the big, and I'm sort of still going back to H-1Bs. Of course, we are speaking now to postdocs.
This year, we're anticipating you're going to need more than that when you put somebody in the lottery.
So with postdocs, at the end of the day, some of you will be pursuing cap-exempt positions, so you don't have to worry about the lottery. If you're in a teaching position with an institution of higher education or affiliated with a research institution that has an appropriate exemption, which is affiliated with institution of higher learning. So one of the options people talk about in order to, I won't say sidestep, but if you have 2 positions, for example, you currently have a part-time teaching position, your second H1 does not have to be selected in the lottery, and you can have concurrent employment. So handy little tidbit that sometimes comes up. Nate, let's move to the O1. The O1.
Yes, you asked Bernie to go back for entrepreneurs for what's the O1 versus H1B comparison,
yes, sir.
Which is better? We have found during the past administration, this administration, that O1 is wide open for early employees of startups, for founders. The O1 criteria work well and have been applied favorably in that direction. So for some people, if you know you've got a good shot at an O1, people are just doing that rather than going the H-1B route and counting on selection in the lottery.
And the other nice thing about the O1 is that you can get an initial approval for up to 3 years, and it can be renewed indefinitely. We have people who prefer to be on an O1 than a green card for whatever reason.
With long backlogs still for certain green card pathways, O1 is favorable in that sense too. A lot of people, if you're in that long India backlog, You can't get above EB2. Some people eventually want to get to H1B to have the non-immigrant, the dual intent allowed. But we've been doing a lot of O1s. We also have a lot of people that are worried about increase in scrutiny for O1 coming in the future. So they're getting them done earlier while they still have OPT, STEM OPT remaining. They want to do their O1 now and get it locked down just in case that standard is going to go up.
Well, Nate, there has been talk about tightening up the standards on O1 and EB1. We haven't seen it yet. Nate, the bottom line, and we'll go into the criteria in a minute or two, but the nice thing about O1 is extraordinary ability in art, science, education, or sports. Pretty much extraordinary ability in anything will qualify. So this covers the full range. So, Nate, we've got to hit 3 of the critical criteria. We're going to do a deeper dive when we get into the green card. Generally speaking, in the academic arena, we don't have too much trouble because we have publications.
Right.
In the business arena, it's more difficult, correct?
That's true. It can be very tough for some people, some types of jobs, some fields. You're right, though. We're talking about postdocs. For a lot of postdocs, it can be doable very soon out of your PhD program. If you've got, you need 3 criteria. A lot of postdocs can knock off criteria, which are publications. If your publications have citations, a good number of citations on Google Scholar, you've also got the criterion original contribution of significance to your field. And then the other criterion, very common, participation as a judge of the work of others. Peer review. Peer review can get you that criterion. So that's 3 for those going the academic publication route. It's better.
Are we safe with 3, Nate? I mean, don't we usually try to push it up 4, 5, 6 if possible? Because we've got the Kazarian overall analysis, the second phase.
Absolutely. When we file these O1 or on the green card side, EB1A, we make an argument for every criterion where there is an argument that you can make with a straight face. You argue for all of them. You never know if a picky officer is going to say, I don't think your citations are enough. I don't think the journals you published in have got a good enough reputation. So you want to, it should be the goal of everyone in a master's degree program, in a PhD program, as a postdoc, in their OPT period. Everyone should aim towards these criteria. Which criteria? As many as you can knock off. It is to your benefit as a grad student or a recent graduate to aim towards these criteria. It'll help your career anyway. And it allows you to kind of take immigration options into your own hands, right?
Let's do a deeper dive on some of these criteria, because people look at them and they say, well, this is pretty easy. But there's a qualitative aspect.
For sure.
In terms of prizes, nationally, you're recognized. We're not really interested in your book prize from a high school. Membership in associations, it's not just some association where you send in a check. Published material about you, that's a critical one. Participation as a judge of work of others, that's a big one. Reviewing articles, very important. Original scientific contributions, well, pretty much all PhDs have got that, but it's got to be of major significance in the field. So there you go. You can argue. Authorship of scholarly articles. Again, we're looking at where is it published? Performing a lead or critical role. Nate is a partner. That's a lead and critical role in the Bay Area office. Is WR a distinguished company? I hope so. So you want to really focus on the qualitative aspect. Commanding a high salary, but we love that one. We don't often see it in the academic arena, but, high remuneration could be your stock incentive package. So I'm dealing with these criteria because they're very much the same in terms of the O1 and the EB1A. Let's go back a little bit and finish O1s. Nate, any other comments on O1s?
Just that, people should strongly consider it. Sometimes they call O1 the Einstein visa, and I wish that would go away because people then think, well, that's not me. I'm not extraordinary. I'm not even going to go down this pathway, but it can be very open to people in all fields. Sometimes even, engineers, software folks, people will think, well, those criteria, those don't really make sense for me. They can. We've had O1s for people of all walks of life. It's really just a matter of keeping your mind open. If it's worth it to you to put in the effort to aim towards these criteria, it can be doable for all kinds of people.
So some offices, they focus on the H1B. I think our office probably does more O1s than H's. Quite simply because we file a lot of these O1s. We have a lot of success with the O1s, and they don't really have to worry about, 6-year max. And there's considerable more latitude. In terms of H1B, there's a job site issue. If you're working off the job site, O1 has a lot of latitude in terms of potentially having multiple employers, depending on who the petitioner is. The petitioner can be an employer, manager, or agent.
Yeah.
And provided the contract, there's contract for employment. One of the biggest problems we have with O1s is that sometimes the employment is speculative. USCIS doesn't like that. They want to see that there is actual real employment.